I know we mentioned Bob Marley a little earlier, but it's really interesting that in all the talk about emancipation, we are constantly reminded that we have to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. So here on Mwen Menm Ek Sa, we're getting into this segment where we talk about fight down. Hey? You know, marginalization. The separation of people, not just physically, but mentally.
Yes.
You guys, fight down is something that people, I think everybody have a story about fight down.
I want everybody to just like go on a little journey with me.
Hey, what are you
like,
we going on a trip in our favorite rocket ship, flying through the sky.
Little Einstein, alright.
Mwen Menm Ek Sa.
Sorry, Gio. Okay, we're taking you seriously. Sorry.
I'll try.
So, imagine, you know, we're all on the plantation or whatever, and all of a sudden, you know, master decides, well, you're all free now. And, you know, we look at each other and it's like, okay, we're on the same level. I guess some of us would have our priorities in different areas based on our experience. So, you know, Joshua go up the hill there, I go down there. And we, in different places, maybe we didn't really stick together, but we're all on the same level. I guess maybe that's what caused the fight down, because everybody now wants to get to the top. Because we you know, we all just there.
Gio, you can't forget the infrastructure that's built. Like we pretend as though these things were created by people who didn't care about what. Nah, bro, that's like big industry. These guys have a whole concept there with Jim Crow telling you, like, literally every day you pin them against each other. The man might take his specific times to punish them for no reason, punish them to inflame them, to make things happen. So now, even if they drop all of us, we traumatize. You know how much trauma people just go through for their own lives, like what they experience since they're young, and say, nah, bro, slavery itself is like the worst of it. Like,
But the trauma that didn't cause us to stay united, the trauma that caused us to...
It's a trauma of separation, it's a trauma of abuse, of persecution, it's a trauma of making you dislike him, so you all cannot come together against me.
True.
It's a manipulation, so to speak, that has already put its fingers past generations, because I teach you to dislike your cousin, to dislike this person. So therefore, innately, you are alone. You've just forced into an individualist concept, because whether you can't trust them or you think they're against you or it's a small dispute, you're not taught communication, you don't have no proper... So how are you going to learn crucial conversation and effective communication? How are you going to be able to dissolve your disputes? Fight you out. They're teaching you, man, dingo to fight. You two as fellas, your man done fight so much for master already. You done kill another slave, bare hands. What's that? What's the disagreement to you? So therefore, when you find these things and you scale it. Scale it right through. Scale it with what you know and what you don't know. What you're gonna look at. It's just bare hostility.
What do we say, Joshua?
true.
I mean, if we look back on slavery culture, there were even some black people who owned slaves, because that was seen as a rite of passage for success. The fact that you own this many slaves, the fact that you own land, the fact that you own this. Even if we look...
slavery was started in Dominica by a black man.
There we go.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, which says a lot about us, because of what we see as success, what we see as wealth, and even in today's society.
Somebody behind the scenes said, "Who's that black man?" Like we just know that.
You understand? So even when we promote individualism behavior, is the fact that we are trying to succeed on our own. When you look at slavery, you never promoted a community culture. Even when you look at skin color, who got this favoritism, who got that favoritism. So then when everybody began to become free, it's like every man for themselves. Each person tried to succeed on their own terms, because now they're free, but they're not given 40 acres and a mule. They're not given this and that. They have to go and fight it and find it for themselves.
So wait, just that. Do y'all think we're emancipated? Mentally?
No. We think
the psychological trauma of the slave space.
That's what I'm saying, because we like to say we're past it and it was so long ago, but our behaviors seem to be
we're independent, but we're not emancipated.
Our children, like
just like saying Lucia.
Let's just flash back maybe like 10 years. Our children still get
another journey.
We are independent, but not emancipated.
Of the communities that we trying to consider free and but we all aware of those things. We are aware of it at the micro and the macro. However, it's just that in our relation of it, in our day-to-day, when we look at the problems, when we look at the socio-economic standards, it doesn't ring exploitation, it doesn't ring like improper spaces, improper homes and XYZ. That's really what it's always been, you know. It's always been just the destruction of the family unit. And it would be hard to find during slavery, it would be hard to find after, especially given you're dependent economically on the same people who enslave you. Therefore, they manipulate your behavior. They manipulate how you initiate your social cultures. So you dancing like the master in his ball, in your gentle way, whatever, however vulgar it might seem now, whatever it might seem to anybody else, that at the time is proper. That at the time makes that black person seem like the highest standard, like he's now part of the society.
Okay,
So
now, but today in 2022, with us knowing better, we can bring it back to young people, right? We're educated, yeah? We're woke.
Yeah.
We're,
Some of us woke, but we woke, but we still laying in the bed.
we're on our spiritual journeys. We're doing our self-assessments and all that jazz. Why we still red eye? Why we still fighting down people? Why when? What is this thing in us that when we see people doing better, we see people get opportunities, we doubt it or we question it before we congratulate them?
Yeah,
What's
yeah,
that
yeah.
about?
I would like to stop rumors too, like
Yes.
like oh, that person must have slept with somebody to get this. That.
Like I say, we are independent, but we are not emancipated. We still follow the same emancipation traditions, norms, whatever. We claim that we are free, we are ourselves, we are independent, we can go any way we want to. But our culture is still dependent and heavily influenced by that slave culture that we had back in the day. And we are not talking about it today. We are not changing that.
The other thing is that we have to bring it
Everywhere.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I think
biblically,
It's not just jealousy, you know, because we take it a step further. And we see it in young people, especially on social media. It's one
Yes.
thing to chat to your friends and give an odd joke or say something that's mean, you know, something you wouldn't put on paper. But these days we take it past that point and we want to find people in compromising positions and embarrass them.
like really
Yeah.
We want to,
people out of spaces. Yeah.
So why
Isn't that
you
what we
take
did
it
for
that far? It's
emancipation?
past jealousy.
in
It's-
slavery
I-
era where we
just hate
embarrass
each other.
slaves.
I think
Why
that-
you think we hate each other?
I don't know why we hate each other, but we definitely do not love each other. Like, why is it that you cannot congratulate somebody? Why is it that you need to make up a story as to, you know, that person is fake, that person is a bubble, so just now they're going to do bubble, or just now you're going to see their files burst. We just don't like to see each other rise. It's just a crab in a barrel mentality. We prefer to compete rather than to cooperate. And
Yes.
I have no idea why it is.
Have we
just-
seen the
Well-
success stories of people cooperating, especially in small communities? Have we seen them? Do you all know these stories around you?
I can't express them things as
No, I've not seen
That's
that.
what I'm saying. Do we see them happen?
That's not really.
That's not even part of our
collaborate
culture.
with people
Yeah.
of in my space, in my age group, Sumerians, those older, those that didn't go to the same school as me, that might be all 8 years older than me, and it feels the same. We connect on the same space, and it never really kindles into it. The fight now is more, honestly speaking, from people I can already see in the space as being somewhat underprivileged, somewhat having a little less, be it their background, be it their environment. Me knowing that I'm privileged by my own background as well, like the consciousness of the two, it brings the balance in that I understand why they hate and I understand why perhaps they might want what I have, why if they catch me lacking, why they might rob me, you know?
So
But-
you think that comes from people who have less than you?
Yeah, it does, but it's a type of consciousness. It's not always the same thing. It's not always the same
It's
thing.
not
Yes.
always
So
the
talking
same,
about
because as an
systemic
example, right?
marginalization,
Yes.
do you think that persons within the same bracket get fight down within the brackets?
Of course.
Yes,
I
yes,
think
there
it's
are.
in the bracket because you look at
Yes.
the other person coming from a similar struggle as you, so they'll be like, okay, well, why are you moving up?
Exactly.
And you know, I just there, so then they end up, you know, having that sort of animosity.
Especially within a system that limits upward mobility. When you see that now, you're like,
How? In what ways?
And we know a lot of the times opportunities sometimes go to people through nepotism.
I didn't know that. Tell me more.
It's who you know.
Exactly.
This person get that opportunity to be a
In St. Lucia, yo?
Yes.
Hey.
There is this culture.
So different things like that cause people to have that animosity towards each other. You know, you
But
like.
how can that be?
Because it's like who you know, that's who gets you in the door.
In fact, Khalil, actually, the guy from St. Vincent in CYC, he had this big viral video saying, it's not because you're poor, you're robbing people. He telling you about his struggles. And he said like he never fought to rob anybody. So it's clear the poverty can't really be what making you do it.
The thing is,
I think it's frustration, maybe, and comparing yourself.
Next topic, just now. Stay on topic.
Okay, this one might be a little controversial, but there's this thing.
I like that she keeps giving disclaimers and she walking right into it. Go
Just put
ahead.
at the bottom of the
There's this thing
screen.
about the poverty mindset, where, and you know, some aspects of it are fake, some aspects of it are real, but I think a real part of it is the fact that you're always looking for a villain. Like sometimes we always look for somebody who is fighting us. Okay, like for example, someone who's behind the scenes said that we're crabs in a barrel who don't know that the barrel has been removed. So it's almost like, okay, for example, the concept of free trade, it has its downfalls, right? But we are a people who would prefer to be self-sufficient rather than cooperating with people, sharing resources and these kinds of things.
That's like the story of the elephant. They tell you from the time the elephant is young, they put the rope at the leg. And so you see this massive elephant with the tiniest rope and you wonder, but why the elephant still there? You that huge, you can move the whole building, and they tell you it's the mind. You already told the elephant that this little rope can keep you back, so it grows up just knowing that this little rope is everything that holds you back. And I think that's exactly where that whole fight down thing happens in St. Lucia a lot. I don't like when people blame poor people, or marginalized as we call them, for remaining in their circumstances, because there's some level of comfort in remaining there.
Yes.
You don't get a lot of the fight down because the little you have, the little you have working for you, the people around you have little too. So you stay in there, you're nice because you know from that side,
because people don't like to feel
get
uncomfortable.
something else.
They don't like to feel
a
uncomfortable.
little bit. The amount of negativity that comes towards you,
I guess
people,
everybody's just so comfortable with it together.
Exactly.
yeah,
We move
all of a
as a
sudden you
unit.
move.
Or you move
But
in.
here's that. But look. So yes. So you move. So why when we move,
We don't
we
tell
cannot
somebody
take
else.
them too? Why when?
But sometimes the
Alright,
struggle,
it's not really-
it's not, you're not being selfish.
As a grown,
What you
But
say?
sometimes the move is very
Wait,
little.
just now,
It's
basic.
not really your responsibility though.
It is your
as a-
What you mean it's not your responsibility?
I kind of want to aim out
saying
because
as
I
a
might
grown-
agree.
I'm saying as a grown
He has a point.
As a grown person in this space, as you've elevated yourself through your own introspection, whatever you can do
Yeah.
to add value to the world, to therefore get a return. Because it's not just so you get anything.
Yeah.
So you adding a value, you building yourself to add that value, you getting pros. How is now a grown other person your responsibility to say that you
so I
ought
have an
to?
answer.
Now you develop infrastructure, you can give back, but at the end of the day, the onus is still going to be on the individual family unit or the community unit.
No, but
And
Edison, people are
Exactly.
multi-dimensional. Right.
Yeah, but you inspire. But at the end of the day, I'm not saying that you cannot give back and do your best. But that is your.
You hear how you say it though?
There's a
I don't like that you're
difference
saying give back.
Exactly.
You're not
It
giving
feels
back. I'm asking you
condescending.
why you're not taking with you, as in before you reach to that point where you're the big successful billionaire that wants to give back by putting a school in your community or doing these kinds of things. Why when you see the opportunities for the grants, you're not running through the neighborhood saying, hey y'all, they have grants available. Why after you get the grants and you go and make all the big money, you want to come and say, oh guys, I want to give you a little park,
And that's
so you know, so y'all
Why
can
that's
play
like government?
in the community.
That sounds like government.
There are gonna be people throughout their own aspiration who are gonna be able to bring people on for real.
Yeah. So I'm asking, why don't we see more of that? We want, why not
Because
more
I
of
feel
that?
like we have that mindset as soon as the person moves, we expect them to take us one time.
Exactly.
No, but there are some people that staying there for, okay, and government is a good example of that. There are some people who stay for decades in government and they're not taking nobody with them.
But that's not
especially women.
That's the
Right?
succession plan that we fail to have.
Yes.
Exactly, and that's why a lot of things are not sustainable because we want to keep everything to ourselves,
But
and when we die, it just stays there and
I
dies
kinda-
buried in the ground.
Edison, though.
I kind of agree with what
We're getting into government, but one second, Joshua.
I kind of agree with what Eddison is saying because okay, we are both poor, but I took an initiative with myself to make myself successful. I cannot bring everybody with me. I can only do as much as I can as an individual. I'm not saying we cannot bring some with us, but at the same time, sometimes that promotes a culture of favoritism. That promotes a culture of okay, he's bringing me with him. I don't have to work hard. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. And sometimes that can set off a negative mindset that okay, Eddison will have my back. Edison will take care of me.
And you become kind of
You
dependent.
kind of, like for a lot
But-
of us, we are dependent on government to do a lot of things for us that we can do ourselves, and in turn we put ourselves in a position where we're wondering what happened, where did we go wrong, what is this, what is that.
We can go on for hours and hours and hours and hours because you know everybody have a hater. Fight down is always a very popular topic in St. Lucia,
definitely.
but we have to wrap up. So let's get thoughts from the cast about this entire topic on emancipation. I think this is the first, I'm being very honest, the first conversation I've ever had or been part of about emancipation that did not feel like a lesson, right?
Right.
And it was nice to be able to see myself in these topics. Tell me your closing thoughts. Eddison, we'll start with you.
Well, I mean, I've seen for myself a lot of black people who can do more for their community, who are actually doing that more, who are actually doing a lot. And I just want to encourage us as we move throughout these topics, throughout the years to come, throughout the months and the celebrations. So just remember that what we do is always going to be our greatest impact. The people we bring on, when we bring on our best friends and our closest people and we let them benefit from our success and we let them benefit from our knowledge and our experience, that's when we're really emancipating them. We help them to emanate, and let's just keep doing that.
Nice. What about you?
Okay, my closing thought is, as a young woman, I think that it's important that, girls support girls and women support women. I think that when you get a seat at the table, it's good to invite somebody else to come along with you. I always say that I don't like Lady Macbeths in power. If for those who don't know, Lady Macbeth, she had ambition, but she prayed for her to be unsexed, for her to be able to achieve it. I think that you could still remain a woman and still have compassion for others, still support other women, and be powerful. You don't need to become a man for you to, that could become a little, controversial. But what I'm saying is that you need to remain caring for other women similar to yourself and not just being materialistic and saying, well, I go ugly. We need to support each other and stick together as women, okay?
For me, I'd say it's important for us to know, and it's very cliche, but we need to know where we're coming from. And I think that is what emancipation is about. Really getting deeper into the themes, what the important themes that came from the experience that our ancestors had. What are we taking from that and putting into our daily lives today? So it's not a thing where people are, where we just looking at what happened some years ago. It's not just that. We are taking themes from what happened years ago and seeing how it's still affecting us. How can we, turn tables and how can we just move forward? That is the importance for me of emancipation and just remaining proud of your ancestry, proud of your culture, proud of who you are, and just keep representing that. So that's just my closing thoughts. I just like to appeal to people to just keep being you, a proud, black individual, and just hold your head up high.
I would say that freedom is not an act or legislation. It is a state of mind. It is a state of well-being. And the fact is that before we see color, race, or gender, that we are all human beings fighting for a cause to survive. My motto is greatness is defined by you, and you define the level of greatness that you want to achieve and who do you want to become. So if you are still in a judgmental state or resistant state according to change and to culture, remember one thing: the present will become the past, and the past determines the future. So who you are now will determine what the future holds tomorrow.
Wise words from the cast, and I always tell people to make everything personal before you think about the big picture and how all solutions need to celebrate emancipation and what everybody needs to do to get ourselves emancipated, especially mentally. start with yourself. If everybody works on themselves a little bit, we'll start to see the difference in our communities, our groups, in society, and hopefully for our future, for our grandchildren. By the time we get into another emancipation topic, they would have told us exactly how the future is going to be here in St. Lucia. So thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. What's the name?
Mwen Menm Ek Sa.
Love to hear it. We're getting into a final piece here by Shatoya.
Chouka ouvert, nou ka wè clair, toute la terre a joint couleur. Ou pa ni poupe, le soleil chwe noise, a che nou y même manière. De laisse éclater, de l'ail mauvais, nous n'y pour balancer. J'appelle la qu'est-ce pas jamais aisé, prêter, aller, ou pas ça décider, ouais, merci mon Dieu, la
Hey guys, stay tuned with us for the upcoming mini-series as we continue the discussions from today for the next couple of months.
Also, huge appreciation to the Cultural Development Foundation, Folk Research Center, and the St. Lucia National Youth Council.
Special thanks to the Emancipation Committee and the Breadfruit Treehouse.
Special thank you to the government of St. Lucia and Creative Industries.
Alright, so stay connected to the CDF and to the St. Lucia National Youth Council. Of course, Road to General Assembly, that's what's on. So make sure you guys are part of the trend. Make sure you're part of the topic. Send us your feedback, leave some comments. We do appreciate you for viewing. Thank you.